Hey everybody, my name's Kim. Welcome to my channel, Crafted by Kim. So today it's starting a little different. I actually decided to put a face behind the name so you guys know who the crazy person is that talks in these videos. And bear with me again, I'm new to the whole YouTube channel thing, as well as obviously being on camera. So it'll all get better with time, I promise. So in today's video, I actually took my coffee bar that I use on a regular basis and turned it into a fall themed coffee bar for the season. Plan on doing the same thing again at Christmas time. It was a lot of fun to do. Most of the items that I used were items that are easy to find at the Dollar Trees. Sometimes, just like you guys, I go on hunts trying to find things. It becomes nerve-wracking, but I like to put things together that are easier to find because of that. It drives me insane. So thanks for joining me. Please subscribe so you get notified every time I upload a video. I'm gonna try to do at least one a week for now. I may try to increase it later on as it gets better, or I try to get better. But I do have a full-time job, so it becomes challenging at times to get things uploaded in a timely manner. Anyway, so again, subscribe, hit the bell so you get notified, and also if you could leave comments so that I can get ideas of what you guys like to see, what you don't like to see, ways that I can make the channel better. Again, I'm just trying to grow. I'm mainly doing it for fun, and if I'm gonna do it, I might as well share the stuff that I do. So I guess let's get started. I have 8 DIYs that I put together today that were all put onto my coffee bar. And I hope you guys like them. Again, leave comments below and let's get started.
When we wake, hear the birds and see the sun. Side by side our fears are done. All the good times just begun.
So this first DIY is a K-cup holder that sits on my coffee bar. I started by using 3 of the slim signs from the Dollar Tree. It took a little bit of force, took a hammer and just barely tapped the hanger part on the back of the signs to get that part taken off.
We know what we have, let's hold on tight. Found what we're looking for in life. Call us crazy, but things are finally right. With you and I, the future is bright.
Once the hangers were taken off the back, I took some Dollar Tree wood glue and a little bit of hot glue just to hold them in place a little bit better. Put them together and used some of the pink clips to hold them in place and set those aside to dry.
Call us crazy, but things are finally right. With you and I, the future is bright. We don't need no more. Even in the hard times, you and I can weather any storm. Before I sleep, hear the crickets, see the moon. Side by side and through and through. No limit to what we can do. Oh, we know what we have, let's hold on tight. Found what we're looking for in life. Call us crazy, but things are finally right. With you and I, the future is bright.
So once it was all dry, I took some of the jumbo crafting sticks from the Dollar Tree and just cut them at random size and cut the rounded edges off of a handful of them. Took some hot glue and started to glue those around the edges to give it a wood look.
We don't need no more. Even in the tell you what's been on my mind. Sick and tired of the 9 to 5 in the city life. Hey darling, we could get out of town, see the beautiful world around, wanna see it now. Pack our bags and get in that car, leave a little note and we'll drive real far. Let's get out, we can leave this city. Let's drive to the open air. Yeah, the countryside is so pretty, with the wind blowing in your hair. We can look back someday. Baby, don't you understand that we only get one life? I wanna make it count, honey. Come on now and take my hand. Hey darling, I love it when it's me and you on the road with a couple of tunes in a car for two. Hey darling, you know we're gonna have a really good time, driving in the middle of the night when the stars are bright. Pack our bags and get in that car, leave a little note and we'll drive real far. Let's get out, we can leave this city. Let's drive to the open air. Yeah, the countryside is so pretty, with the wind blowing in your hair. We can look back someday. Baby, don't you understand that we only get one life? I wanna make it count, honey. Come on now and take my hand. Let's get out, we can leave this city. Let's drive to the...
So once I had it all glued down, I took some spackle. I believe the canister that I'm using is from the hardware store, but they do sell this at the Dollar Tree in the hardware section there as well, and it works just as good. Filled in the holes, just kind of smoothed it out with my finger, and went back after it was all dry and sanded it down to give it all a smoother finish.
Open air. Yeah, the countryside is so pretty, with the wind blowing in your hair. We can look back someday. Baby, don't you understand that we only get one life? I wanna make it count, honey. Come on now and take my hand. Yeah, we only get one life. I wanna make it count, honey. Come on now and take my hand.
Once all the rough edges were sanded down, I took my favorite stain. I know that you guys are probably tired of hearing this. It's the Varathane Dark Walnut, and stained the edges of the cup holder.
Full stop. Can't believe I live in your thoughts. I think about you all the time, morning, evening, and midnight. Such a wonderful delight. Forgo, give up everything that I own. Yeah, I'd give it all up now, just to be with you somehow. Unexpected love was found. You're the rose in a garden, and it shows if I'm honest. You're the leaves in mid-August.
After I was done with the stain, I took some contact paper to put on the back just to have a more finished look, so you couldn't see the fronts of the signs when it was on the table.
And I've come out here to say that I love you. Ooh, ooh, you, ooh, ooh.
So the last part of the K-cup holder was kind of challenging. It took me a couple different tries to get it to where it would stand up good without falling over every time I took a K-cup out. So I took Jenga blocks, took 4 total, put 1 at the very top, spaced them out evenly, and then I had the leftovers from a different project of the paint sticks that I had cut off. They actually worked perfectly. So I hot glued them. I used a generous amount of hot glue on the top underneath the Jenga block, and then put a second one to stabilize it underneath it with hot glue. And it actually turned out really well. Works perfect. I've been using it for a week now, and it has not fallen over, hasn't fallen apart, or fallen off. And it was a pretty inexpensive way to get it to stand up. So if you have any suggestions or any other ideas of how to make that happen easier, please feel free to share. I'd love to hear what you guys' thoughts are on it. I'm sure that the way I did it wasn't the best way to do it, but it accomplished what I was trying to do. And at the end of the day, it's still working, so I guess that's a good thing. Once all the glue is dry, I think it turned out really neat. It's functional, it serves a purpose, and it's cute all at the same time. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. In this next DIY, I make a pumpkin sign. I took one of the monogram pumpkins that they had at the Dollar Tree, took off the bow first, got rid of all the glue, took antique white paint, and gave it a really nice coat of paint. While the paint was drying, I took one of the wooden Hello Fall cutouts that came in, I think, in a pack of 4. Again, use that same stain that I use for everything. For some reason, it just gives it really good contrast, and I think it looks, it gives it more of a rustic look. So I took the stain, stained the Hello Fall sign, and then once the pumpkin was dry, I dry brushed it with the burnt orange paint that I used in a video a couple times ago, and I really liked the way it looked. So dry brushed the pumpkin to give it contrast. Once that was finished, I took the Hello Fall sign, used some hot glue, glued it to the front of the pumpkin, made a cute little bow for the top, and I absolutely loved how this turned out. Let me know what you guys think too. DIY number 3 is the tray with the owl. Probably the easiest DIY on the entire list of projects that I did today. Took a wood tray from the Dollar Tree, took the ever so famous stain that I use, Verifane Dark Walnut, stained the entire tray, let it dry. Once the tray was dry, I took a piece of paper. I think I actually got this at the Hobby Lobby, so I apologize. That's something that's not from the Dollar Tree, but you could really use any piece of paper, a solid color, anything that you could style to match what decor you're trying to style this with. I used Mod Podge, and I gave it a really nice coat of Mod Podge and glued the piece of paper to the bottom of the tray. Once it was finished, I actually decided to style it with one of the ceramic owls that I had done last year. I don't have a tutorial on it, but it's super easy. I painted it white, dry brushed it with a brown to bring out some of the texture of the owl. And once it was finished, this is what it looks like. I hope you guys like it. I think it is one of the cutest, easiest projects that I've done so far. So for the next DIY, I make a sign out of the wood cutout pumpkins. So I start with 3 of the wood cutout pumpkins and paint them in that antique white. Next, I take a wood cutout pumpkin that I had from last year. It was actually a sign that had burlap on it that I had taken off and I ended up not using. So I take another piece of scrap paper that I had, again from the Hobby Lobby. You could use whatever you want. You could probably even use a piece of cloth, or fabric, I mean. I put Mod Podge on it, stuck it to the paper, and then used an X-Acto knife to cut around just so that I could get the edges nice and clean. In the next step, I take the 3 wooden pumpkins and hot glue them to the front of the larger pumpkin with hot glue. Once that's done, I take one of the metal harvest signs, glue it to the middle, and for the finishing touch of this project, I take a bow off of another project because I don't throw anything away, glue it to the top, add a Jenga block to the back to allow it to stand up on its own, and it is finished. Another quick, easy project, and it is cuter than cute can be. Let me know what you think. So DIY number 5 is the Hello Fall sign. I used one of the Autumn Leaves and Pumpkin Please beaded signs. I thought they were super cute and probably could have just been left alone, but I don't leave much alone, so I took the sign, removed the inside of it, took painter's tape and blocked off the frame part so I wouldn't get any paint on the frame so I could paint the beads. And I painted the beads with Folk Art Bark Brown and let it dry. I set those aside to dry and took another piece of the scrap paper that I got at Hobby Lobby. Again, this stuff is like super cheap. It's 69 cents. They have a million different patterns and they're also cute. So I took the sign and traced around it so I could cut out the perfect size for the sign and just used some Mod Podge and glued it to the front of the sign. So I had one extra of the pumpkin cutouts left from the last couple projects that I did that was already painted in the antique white. Took that and I hot glued it to the sign. I used some once it was hot glued. I took the welcome fall sign and it was actually perfect. It already had like a burnt kind of look to it. I didn't really touch it. That's how it came in the package. Is going to add and I glued it to the front of the pumpkin coffee bar. So for the next DIY, I found the cutest little autumn straws at a store near me, and I'm not sure how accessible they are throughout the United States, but it's called the Christmas Tree Shops. It's open year-round. It always has the cutest stuff. So I decided I wanted to make a holder to put the straws in on the coffee bar. So I took one of the, I think it's a sugar shaker from the Dollar Tree, and took some white Waverly chalk paint and gave the jar a really nice coat of paint.
Yesterday there was sun and there was rain, beauty in the mundane. And as the light startled our eyes, we let go of disguise.
Once the chalk paint was dry, I took that bark brown, dry brushed the jar again to give it some texture. Once I was done with that, I took jute and wrapped it around the top of it.
And now there's something in the air, and a sparkly shimmer on our skin, restoring everything within. Oh, dreamy, breezy we go, easy, easy on our tiptoes, undercover agents of the other, beyond gravel, beyond all. Hand in hand, building castles out of sand, reaching for the grand. As willows align, we lose track of time. Head up high, now we climb. Oh, dreamy, breezy we go, easy, easy on our tiptoes, undercover agents of the other, beyond gravel, beyond all.
So this next project is probably my most favorite. It's the coffee mug hooks that I made. So I used some of the jumbo paint sticks, and the hooks are just the hooks that you get at the Dollar Tree. Took the paint sticks, cut the ends off with just like the little hacksaw that you get in the Dollar Tree hardware section, and made them even. Took the parts that I cut off and glued those to the back just for the stability. After it's all glued together, I turn it over, use the antique white paint, and give it a really nice coat of paint.
A bigger scale, the world inhales as we go. I wouldn't want it any other way, no. Dreamy, breezy we go, easy, easy on our tiptoes, undercover agents of the other, beyond gravel, beyond all. Dreamy, breezy we go, easy, easy on our tiptoes, undercover agents of the other, beyond gravel, beyond all.
So the next step is I take the hooks outside, use Rust-Oleum metallic paint in flat burnished amber, and paint the hooks. It takes a couple coats to get all the sides really nice, but once they're painted, I just let those sit to dry. Next, I take 4 of the fall leaf cutouts. I had already taken the spackling and filled the holes because I didn't want to see the holes in them. Stained those with that dark walnut varathane stain, and once they're dry, I evenly space those onto the front of the paint sticks that I'd done earlier and hot glue those down. Once that's all finished, I take the set of hooks that are dry, evenly space them across the leaves, take some small wood screws that I had from another project and screw those into the leaves to hold it in place. Once it was all put together, it came out really neat. I think it looks high-end. Once it's up on the wall, you really can't tell that it's made out of paint sticks. I really liked how this came out. Drop some comments down below and let me know what you think. So for this last project, I made a sign for the love of fall by using a canvas that I had purchased a while back. I removed the holder off the back and then removed all the canvas from it. It can be a bit challenging without messing up the actual frame itself, so I had to use a little bit of patience and a few different tools, but I finally accomplished and got the job done. Once I had it all removed, I took some black flat paint and painted the frame. Once the frame was painted, I took some paint sticks, cut them down to size so that I could use those for the background for the sign. Once they were all cut, I took 2 more of the paint sticks, cut those down to size as well, and hot glued those to the back to hold them all in place. After that was all set, I used Folk Art Antique Wax. Yes, I didn't go back to my usual Varathane stain, but I used the Folk Art Antique Wax and waxed the sign. Once I had it all covered with the colors that I wanted, I took the black frame, and I actually used wood glue this time just because I wanted to make sure it wouldn't come off. I wasn't sure if the hot glue would stick to the wax or not. So I used wood glue from the Dollar Tree, made a border, put the black frame back on, put it together, and held it together with some of the clamps and let it dry overnight.
Hey, I wish you could see yourself just sitting there on my chair. I'm staring at you, you don't even notice. Should've told you straight away, you don't have to be afraid anymore. I know you haven't noticed. You know that I won't let you go. Put your arms around me and I'll let you know how it feels when time goes slow. And I won't let it rush when I see you dance, and the moment comes when I fall and time goes slow. I fall into you. I fall into.
While I was waiting for all that to dry, I used my Cricut and cut out the words that I wanted to use and the sayings that I wanted to use for the sign. I thought it was clever. I haven't seen the saying anywhere before. I kind of just tried to come up with something that was a little bit original and unique. If you've seen it before, I apologize, but I have not seen this before. Again, thought it was super cute. Anyways, this is how it turned out. I hope you guys like it. That is it. I hope you like the video of the coffee bar. Let me know what you guys think, and I will see you guys again next week.
I wish I could show you